Single family home, east side of Sandy again, so not too far from my first one.
Okay.
And it was in decent shape. I did new flooring, paint, carpet, those types of things, updated the cabinets and stuff. But yes, it had meth in it. And if I hadn't worked for a wholesale company, if I would have heard the word meth, I would have been pretty nervous about that. Like, that's going to scare a lot of people away, and rightfully so. But meth is actually extremely common in Utah. Like, I've sold probably hundreds of meth houses, maybe at least 50, probably.
Something you'd never think about as a Utah home buyer, but it's true.
Yeah, well, it's true. It surprised you, actually. And so I was familiar with like the remediation process. I had connections with companies that can do that, and they pull a permit through the health department. They test it. They come back. They use a special chemical to scrub all the walls, and then they retest it and make sure there's no meth in the home. So I wasn't as concerned about it as probably most are. But again, that was just another negotiation tactic, because if the seller hears meth, it allows you to go back and renegotiate even more. So I think that's what allowed me to pick up the property for such a good price, along with the conditions of the market at the time. But yeah, that turned out to be a really good one for me. I actually just pulled a HELOC on that property, and I've got it just appraised. I owe $500 and it just appraised for $700.
Very nice.
Yeah, so I'm super stoked about that.
Walk us through when you were living there, how much your mortgage was and how much your mortgage was offset by basement ADU.
Yeah, so total mortgage is about $3,300 and some change, and then I obviously pay utilities on top of that. But $3,300 and some change, and then the basement tenants who are actually still there, they keep renewing. They just renewed for another year till 2026, which is awesome. They're great.
Yeah.
But yeah, they pay $2,000 a month for the basement. So I was paying like $1,300 plus utilities, and now on that deal I cash flow, because now I rent out the upstairs for $2,500 to $2,550,
Nice.
and after all utilities and everything, I cash flow around like $700 a month on average on that one.
And this was bought in 2022.
Yeah.
Like that's impressive to cash flow so fast after moving out. You only lived there for a year?
Yeah, just for a year, maybe a little over a year. Yeah, a little over a year on that one. But I mean, it's East Sandy. It's in a phenomenal location. It's a big house, 3 bedrooms upstairs, 3 bedrooms down. Well, technically 4 bedrooms downstairs, but one of them's really small. So I think the location and the size just allows me to get a little bit higher in rents, I think. Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts on this, because I've talked to Joel and I've talked to a bunch of our clients about this, because the nature of house hacking since the pandemic happened has kind of shifted. We talked a little bit about this. Like, it's super hard to find anything that would break even or even come close to cash flowing if you're living in the property.
Right.
Like the days of Bigger Pockets guys saying, "Oh, I bought a duplex. They paid $1,500. My mortgage was like 30 cents. And,
Yeah.
I just, I got all this cash flow right from day one."
Those days are gone. They're
in Utah. They're not there.
Yeah.
They're just not there unless you have a massive down payment or you get something wholesaling where, you get a stellar interest rate, which typically also involves a huge down payment.
Yeah.
So what I try to help people understand is it's an investment and it's a long term. And what I try to help them understand a little bit is even when they move out and they're negative cash flow, let's say $500 a month, typically on average, your principal balance that you're paying every month on your mortgage payment, even from your first payment, is about $500 a month.